I don't know what to say, really.
Your seventh pick gives you what? A running back with a rap sheet?
You don't know who I'm picking, Seven, Tom. I'm not going to sell the farm for one guy.
Well, you should. Your farm sucks.
I know football. What you did with those boys. You were the right man for the job, Coach.
You're Hall of Fame in my book.
Now, let's analyze what's been working for us. Not a goddamn thing's been working for us. Like this goddamn suit doesn't work for me. And this stinking tie. And this goddamn shirt. It doesn't work for me.
Fucking Roethlisberger, the quarterback, was all fucking hug it, chug it, football. All night.
I'll tell you why you don't have your $10 million yet. 'Cause right now, you are a paycheck player. You play with your head, not your heart. In your personal life, heart. But when you get on the field, it's all about what you didn't get, who's to blame, who underthrew the pass, who's got the contract you don't, who's not giving you your love. And you know what? That is not what inspires people.
This is your opportunity
For
here.
you. Playing football at West Canaan may have been the opportunity of your lifetime. But I don't want your life.
I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that itch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that itch. Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face.
I have the golden ticket, Sonny. If I give it to you, you get to say football in Cleveland.
I'll see you in L.A.
No heart. No heart? I'm all heart, motherfucker!
It's Sunday. Sunday. What's up, Extra Base Ed? What's cracking? Shit. It's NFL Sunday, week 1, fantasy football. We've already seen 2 games in the bag. We'll watch the Eagles in Brazil take care of Jordan Love out for the season. Nope. Looks like an MCL injury, though. That could be many, many weeks. Could be worse. Maybe it's the end of the world in Green Bay. I hope it isn't, though, because I'm rooting for you guys. Not really. I'm in Detroit. I'm not rooting for Green Bay. Booyah! In your face. I got this Plazzo Podcast, 2 L's.
Give me 2.
2 Z's. Very excited to be here again.
Utah.
There it is.
Give me 2.
So, let's talk. I'm going to be here for a brief time. I got my own shit to take care of. I already feel like I'm behind. College football was wild yesterday. Some good, some bad. Some wins, some losses. And that's gambling, is it not? With fantasy football, you are also gambling. So don't forget, next time you play fantasy football, think of us here at insert your company here, and that could be you on this show if you want to support us, right? Or you could just listen to Jim Mora drops instead because they're funny.
We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked.
There you go. It's just that simple. So look, who you got? Who you worried about? It's almost 11:20 a.m. Eastern time here, live on a Sunday morning. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, MJ Govier. Hit me up with questions. The Discord's free. It's always in the link of the description of the show on YouTube, where you should be subscribed. We're going to be here every Sunday doing this thing. At the top of the hour, we'll have the baseball show, which we always have every Sunday at 12 noon. And Britton will be over there talking about head-to-head playoff ads, because I know a lot of you are sweating out head-to-head playoffs as it kicks into high gear. Even though football is taking over the world in September, there is still baseball, and we support our people there. We care. Baseball's fun. No one's going to tell us otherwise. But as the injury report starts to roll in here, who are the biggest concerns? You know, I put on the graphic for today's show, Christian McCaffrey. Monday Night Football, always a bummer. You don't want to think about a start-sit when you got no other options, right? And I must say, McCaffrey seems likely to, even if he plays, this is a team that wants to win a Super Bowl in the 49ers. So you're probably better off maybe sitting McCaffrey in week 1. I know you always play your studs. Everybody knows that. That's old news. I mean, that's as common as everyone knows that Busch Light is the best beer in America, right? But the truth is, you know, it's week 1. Get a little radical. I'm not saying sit McCaffrey going forward, but if you have other running back options. So let me I ended up with McCaffrey at least twice. I've got about, 10 leagues this year, 10-ish. A couple more best balls, too. That's non-best ball. 10 leagues where I have to make moves, add drops, start sits, all that wonderful stuff that we just love here. We love in the fantasy football room. It's a lot of fun. But let me show you a couple examples, and you guys can make your choices with me or against me. Either way, I love doing this show. So in a, which league is this? Let me pull it up here. By the way, I'm already really pissed, and this is such amateur hour, but it's true. It truly happened. In this league where I'm about to show you Christian McCaffrey and my options over here on Sleeper. There we go. Here he is on my bench. Look what happened here. Thursday night, I was working all day, and for some reason, Hollywood, I had done this draft like 24 or 48 hours prior, and Hollywood Brown somehow got stuck in my damn lineup. Ugh! It sucks. That is an embarrassment. I apologize. So bogus. So bogus. But I have to live with it now. I can't change it. Just remember, if you're working your ass off on a Thursday and suddenly the season kicks off, just put aside 15 minutes for yourself. That's what I should have done. I didn't do it. I'm stuck with that. Anywho, so I've got McCaffrey. I moved to the bench right now. And currently, my two running backs are Tony Pollard at Chicago today. And, of course, Jahmyr Gibbs, Sunday Night Football against the Rams in a rematch of that awesome playoff game last year in the wild card round. Tony Pollard is in an interesting spot. This is going to be one of the, I think, the focal points today. And Tajay Spears versus Tony Pollard. Which one of them will take control? Will this be a true split? Will Spears be the third down back? But because Pollard could catch balls, he catches plenty of balls, right? So I put McCaffrey on the bench. I could have gone with Chuba Hubbard at New Orleans. Remember, New Orleans is usually pretty good against the run defensively, right? So I don't think I'm going to go with Chuba, and I'm going to go with Pollard. Obviously, Gibbs is a must start. But I'm going to play Pollard over McCaffrey. Am I crazy? Do you agree or disagree with that? Let me know. Jump in the live chat. Hit me up. Oh, here we go. Finally, extra base head's ready to rock. Even though he's a baseball guy, I would assume. He's either a baseball guy or he's a base head. If you don't know what a base head is, you'll have to Google that. Start two. David Montgomery, Keenan Allen, Mr. Mostert, or Tank Dell, PPR as well. Look, I didn't draft Tank Dell at all. I was completely out on Tank Dell this year. With the arrival of Stephon Diggs, I was very concerned. I thought Dell would absolutely be the third man with Nico Collins and Diggs and then Dell. Even though Dell had an excellent rookie year, but he broke his leg, and now Diggs is in the house. That's a challenge, right? That's a real problem. So if it's PPR, and I got to start two, I'm definitely going with Keenan Allen, one. And I'm going to go with Mostert. I think that's the play for me. Allen and Mostert. Dell could have a touchdown grab, but if I'm trying to rack up PPR points, I'd rather play Keenan Allen. He should be a very, very safe target for the rookie Caleb Williams in Chicago. Tennessee Titans and the Bears. Da Bears playing in Soldier Field or whatever they call it now. Hey, EAL Dave's here. What's up, buddy? He goes with Dell and Mostert. No, X-base head. Oh, shit, we're both X-base heads. All right, man. Well, that's awesome.
Don't be that guy.
We're not that guy anymore. Glad to have you here, basehead, my man. But I'm going with those two, Mostert and Keenan Allen. David Montgomery, I could see. David Montgomery does not catch balls, though. Look at what happened last year between Gibbs and Montgomery. Gibbs was the absolute pass catcher out of the backfield. Montgomery was not. I think he had 19 grabs for the year, Montgomery did. But, touchdowns are touchdowns, so it's not just about receptions in a PPR. It's just another part of the puzzle. But that's where I'm going. I'm locking it in right now in 3, 2, 1. It is Mostert and Allen. Thank you very much. EA says, hopefully we'll make my fantasy championship at the end of today. Never made it this far before. Well, it's all thanks to the Palazzo podcast, right, EA? Well, we helped you a little bit, but you did the work. That's fantasy baseball. Good stuff. Glad to hear that. Make sure you tune in at 12 noon. Check out Britton Allen. Follow him on Twitter, 2 T's, 2 L's, Britton Allen, Britton, not like
Utah.
Great Britain.
Give me two.
Also podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. Come on, more. What do you got? Let's go. What are you waiting for? I'm here for you. I don't want to just look at my teams and talk about my stuff. I want to answer your questions. I want to help you with your choices. That's why I'm here right now. I'm only going to be here for a limited time. I'm bouncing, okay? So if you say, hey, where are you going? Don't come crawling back later saying, don't leave. I just made all my lineup decisions, so I'm locked in. Most of them were not, well, look, it's week 1. This is week 1. So go crazy. I have Isaiah Likely, I think in about 70% of my leagues. And he was on the bench for almost all of them. If you believe in a player, if you draft that player, and you think there's a breakout that's going to happen, which I totally did because my drafts showed how much I loved Isaiah Likely, but I didn't start him enough. I didn't know he'd have the game he would have, but I loved him this year to really break out. My only concern was how much will Mark Andrews get in the way? And in week 1 against the Chiefs, Andrews had 2 grabs. Likely was a monster. Should have had the game-tying touchdown, too. That didn't work out. Oh, he got so excited. Isaiah Likely and Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, were so excited. They thought they just tied the game against the Chiefs, but then...
I'm so excited!
Nope.
I'm so excited!
Didn't work out.
I'm so scared!
Yeah, they kind of turned into what Jesse Spano became at the end of that. EA says, not a today question, but how do you feel about Likely moving forward? Must start in 10-team formats, assuming you punted tight end? Hell yeah, dude. I love Likely. So you're talking to the Likely guy. I didn't know he'd come right out in the week 1 and just dominate, but I drafted him almost universally because I thought he was a great value. He had 5 touchdowns in very limited duty last year, and he's been sitting there on this team for a couple seasons, and they're not using him. But I think they finally realized, dude, let's get Likely on the field early and often, right? So I am very pro Likely, even in a 10-teamer. You know what I mean? If we look at the, let me pull up the week 1 snaps for the tight ends on the Baltimore Ravens from Thursday's game. So Andrews was 74%, Likely right behind it, 66. So they were both on the field a lot, 59 to 53. That's very even snap count and snap share. So the 2 tight end thing is going to be much more of a thing. It's going to be Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Andrews, and Likely. And the people that lose out here, Nelson Aguilar will lose out more. He was on the field 38% of the snaps in week 1. He's a guy who had a few touchdowns here and there. He was great. If you love the first touchdown prop, which can pay huge dividends, but it's always a long shot if you go with the deeper guys in a gambling sense. And Nelson Aguilar paid a few times last year, so he's the one who loses out here. I'm all about Likely. Lock it in, okay? There you go. Rugrats in the house. What's up? Make sure you subscribe, like the video. This is going to be us all season long. Dak or Caleb? I have CD. Tennessee's defense is way worse, and even though Dak's the veteran and Caleb's the rookie, on the surface, it's week 1. I think you should roll with Caleb and see what he's got. Because Cleveland's defense is still going to be pretty good. Dallas is in Cleveland. And though everyone's shitting on the Dallas run defense, or run offense, I actually think, Zeke Elliott caught a lot of passes for New England last year, and he ran hard. He's not what he was 5 years ago, but he might be serviceable. And that's what I'll really be looking for in that Cleveland-Dallas game today. Will Zeke surprise? Will the backfield surprise? Because the old line with Dallas, people are worried about that as well. So I would roll with Caleb and see if he can show you something. Why not? It's week 1. Though I admit that's a little radical. 5 points for passing touchdowns. Yeah, Caleb can run him in for sure, too. So could Dak, but I know Caleb wants to extend the play. 5-point passing touchdown. I don't think it really makes a difference in my judgment between Dak and Caleb. There you go. Thanks, Rugrat, for being here. Andrews was bracketed every play. Yeah, well, it's great news for Likely. Let's party, baby. Whee! I love Likely. Bizarrizza Jizz is in the house here. Just here to say fantasy baseball over football. I don't play it or watch it, but wishing you a successful season, MJ. Okay. Thank you, Bizza, for checking in on that. Always good to hear from you, brother. And that's why Rugrat's saying that Likely blew up, because Andrews was bracketed. It's not a fluke, though. He's on the field a lot, and he's going to be a part of this offense. So week to week, it could rotate around. Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, maybe Likely gets less catches, but Likely's out there in the field. They want him out there. He's an athletic game changer. He is. And I'm not backing down. I'm not changing from that. I love Likely. Bye, 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 bye. EA says, I'd go Dak, especially since you have CD. Oops in the house. What up? What's up, Oops? How you living? Large. How you living? Large in living color. Bam, 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 bam. That's an old reference. McLaurin or Zamir White for the flex? You know, I think I just benched McLaurin in the one league I have him, but I also had other options, so it's not just in a vacuum, right? Let's go to the highlights. I know it's in this Devi league I'm in where you keep your whole roster, basically. And McLaurin somehow has made it through it all, somehow, some way. And I benched him. Yeah, and I put in Brian Thomas. I really like Brian Thomas, the rookie out of LSU. Jacksonville's in Miami today. It's exciting. Very exciting. Would you play Brian Thomas over Terry McLaurin week 1? Why not? Expect a fast-track, fast game down in Miami. 2 Florida teams going at it. They're both familiar with the weather, so we don't have to worry about the classic Florida weather in September issue. And Brian Thomas played at LSU. That's one of the hottest places on earth. So he doesn't have to worry about that. Terry McLaurin's got to rely on Jaden Daniels. And I love Jaden Daniels. I drafted Jaden Daniels a lot for the rushing floor, though. That's the big deal. Jaden Daniels' rushing floor is what I'm really banking on. This is strictly a fantasy-focused thing. I believe Jaden Daniels might be the best quarterback in this class. I'm still sticking with it. I know Caleb Williams is all world, but Jaden Daniels has talent, and he's got experience, and he's a little more advanced, in my opinion, than Caleb when it comes mentally to the game because he's been through some harder times. I think Caleb's got a few more harder times to go through. But as far as, if not going to be McLaurin, then Zamir White, sure. I can't wait to see what the Chargers run D is like this year because last year it was just a free play. Every time you had a running back against the Chargers D, you played that running back. Does that continue right off the bat? Jim Harbaugh's in town. I'm Jim Harbaugh. You know Jim Harbaugh was on Saved by the Bell? He was. Go check it out on YouTube. That was a long time ago. He's got Zamir White at the moment. Zamir White or McLaurin? I'll go Zamir White because he should have more carries and more opportunity. It's strictly a volume play. McLaurin's got to rely on Jaden Daniels getting him the ball. I kind of like Washington against Tampa Bay. That'll be an interesting game. I really do believe that. But I'm going to go with Zamir White by a nose. There you go. Jamar officially active. There it is. Jamar Chase, everybody. Now the question is, how much will you get out of him against that New England defense? Cincinnati's at home. Jamar Chase on the field. He's a great player, so it doesn't really matter if he's been practicing or not, does it? Right? Also, how about Tyreek pulling a Scotty today? Scotty Pippen? Or like Scotty Doesn't Know from Eurotrip? What am I missing here? Yeah, Hill was pulled over by the police about 1 block from Dolphin Stadium. He was briefly detained, but has since arrived at the field. The severity of the incident is unclear, but the fact that he was able to make it to the stadium without any issues suggests it was a rather minor situation. For now, fantasy managers can proceed with Hill as usual. Jalen Waddle will be in line for a larger role if this traffic incident costs Hill any time down the road, though that looks unlikely. This was at 11:13 a.m. about 20 minutes ago. He got pulled over this morning, right? Yes, I just read the story. But who's Scotty? What am I missing there? Scotty got pulled over? I need to be filled in on what that means. Zeus White all day, startup. Well, of course, Uncle Ted. What's up, Uncle T? Uncle Ted is upset. He thinks the Raiders are going to be great this year. He's been Zamir White psycho, so that is not a surprise. That's not news. Scotty Scheffler. I remember Tony Scheffler. He was a tight end for the Broncos. Remember Tony? He was a pick out of Western Michigan. Interesting, right? Anyways, that's fun stuff. Tyreek's fine. Nobody worry about it. Tyreek 200 and a tud minimum. Rugrat just locks in his calls. I love it. Rugrat, you belong here. You're just like Uncle Ted. You call it how you see. You don't screw around. EA says, I got arrested before his tea time. Oh, yeah, that's Scotty. Thank you. See, now it happened in Louisville, and someone died, though. That was like way more serious. I mean, that cop was out of control, but someone had died either as a pedestrian, I believe, or they were actually in a car accident, and Scotty Scheffler was just trying to get to it was a major, right? It was the major at Louisville. I remember now. I just relayed it out for you, brother. I'm not a huge golf guy, but I remember that story because it was a big deal. But yeah, I'm not a huge golf guy. I played golf for a long, long time. And I quit the game in 2011, and I never looked back. 13 years golf-free, and I feel pretty good about it. Brought me nothing but pain and misery. And why should I spend money to be outdoors? I can just go outside for free. That's what I learned. Anyways, I also just sucked at golf, so
wow,
that was really just the bottom line. All right, what else you got for me here? The inactives now, it's 11:35 Eastern time, so hopefully we've got more updates on the NFL inactives for today. What about DFS? You got any DFS plays? Who's getting wild with it? Come on, hit me up. So yeah, we got Jamar Chase. That's good news. Cam Akers is inactive, folks, for the Texans. There you go. There's big news. Isn't that funny? Yeah. T. Higgins is out as we expected to. So hopefully, if you have Andres Iosivas, that's my guy. Some people like Jermaine Burton, but I'm an Iosivas guy. He was a guy that Joe Burrow has relied on for touchdowns. I think there's a trust there between Burrow and Iosivas. So without T. Higgins today, that's exciting. That does get me interested. Very, very interested now in Iosivas. If he's available, maybe you want to pick him up for the kickoff and insert him because he could play a solid role here. I expect him to be more of a big deal than Jermaine Burton because he's been there. He's earned his stripes. He's a Bengal. Get it? Brian Thomas Jr. I like how you threw the junior in there. Very respectful. Oops. Or George Pickens. Now, this is a great one. I love both of these players. I've drafted both of these players more than once this preseason. Ooh. So, let's talk Pittsburgh quarterback situation. It's pretty clear Justin Fields is going to be the guy, right? If it hasn't just come down now that Russell Wilson will not play, maybe they're still going to try to like tease us and say, oh, Russell Wilson might still play. I don't know. He might play. He's still questionable. I haven't seen the final analysis on this for the injury report. If anybody else sees it, let me know. But either way, he's got a calf issue. And once you've had a calf issue, trust me, you will never forget it. It's really a pain in the ass. It hurts. And you can't do shit with it. Everything kind of starts and ends there. Your leverage, your push off, it's awful. I never had a calf injury in my life till a couple of years ago. And I pulled the calf muscle twice. And it just ruins the day. Ain't shit you can do. So if that's the case with Russell Wilson, who's already not that great to begin with, in my opinion, I welcome Justin Fields. I drafted Justin Fields over Russell Wilson several times because of Fields' fantasy potential. Just because he can run around and make hundreds of rushing yards happen. For fantasy, Fields is great. Now, for George Pickens, I think he's also good too. Look what Fields was able to do last year with DJ Moore in Chicago. Pickens can still get his. And this is a guy that can go up and get it. And Fields can throw it up, so Pickens can go up and get it. Atlanta's defense, what are we expecting this year? Raheem Morris, new coach. Are you afraid of Atlanta? Versus Brian Thomas Jr., a rookie who's the third wide receiver, right? You got Christian Kirk and, of course, Gabe Davis, and then Brian Thomas Jr. But I might trust Thomas Jr. more than I trust Gabe Davis. That could just be PTSD. I admit that freely. Oops says, I have Pickens in right now. I have Pickens starting in a couple of my leagues, but I have so much Pickens that... let me share a couple examples here. Let's see if I can find... Okay. I hope you guys out here. Stand by. 3, 2, 1. Palazzo Podcast.
You
2
talk.
L's, 2 Z's.
Give me 2.
All right, so you'll see here. This is a 16-team league. And this is Jamie from Out of Rhythm Sports. Make sure you guys check out the Out of Rhythm Sports YouTube channel. They're doing great work over there, covering college football, fantasy football, NFL. It's great. Real good stuff. So I put George Pickens in. Now, this is a 16-team league, so this is a no-brainer. I mean, look, I got Joshua Palmer in a flex. So this is an easy call, okay? With Olave, Jefferson, and Pickens. I love those wide receivers, by the way. So let's go to a smaller league where maybe it's a little more difficult. Okay, this one's a super flex. This is a 12-teamer. And I don't have Pickens in this one. Great, so we can move on. This is the one I didn't draft Pickens. The one I didn't. Okay. Is Pickens in this one? Oh, back-to-back no Pickens? Yeah, well, now I'm making this more annoying, right? Whoops. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Here we go. This one is Pickens. And this is the one, I believe, where I benched him. So there you go. I benched Pickens. This is a 12-team. This is the Palazzo League, the official Palazzo Podcast Fantasy Football League for this year. I won last year, looking to win again. Just let you know, I know something. But I benched Pickens, and I obviously started A.J. Brown, and that was a great call. He had a great game. And I'm putting in Drake London over Pickens. How about that? See, that's a good question. Would you play Drake London or Pickens? I think most people would probably play London. I started Christian Watson at the flex here. He had a touchdown, but other than that, didn't do too much. And I think Pickens will probably outperform what Watson did here. I may come to regret that. Also, I benched Zay Flowers, who had a few catches and a couple runs, which is nice. But yeah, that's kind of like where my head's at. Drake London over Pickens, but Pickens versus Brian Thomas, I think I'll probably go Pickens here, but I would have no problem rolling the dice on Brian Thomas at all. Oh, yeah, Oops is in the Bozo League. He's paying attention. I have both and started both. Okay, well, there you go then. So I like Brian Thomas Jr. I'm starting him in at least one league where that was going to make more sense for me, but I totally get your decision to go with Pickens over Thomas. But if you're feeling frisky and you feel like Lawrence will have a connection with Thomas right off the bat, and I do believe that Brian Thomas will be somewhat of a factor today. And the question is, will Pickens outscore Thomas? I think it's almost kind of a coin flip just for today. But Pickens has the experience. He's got the worst quarterback passing-wise because Lawrence is a better quarterback. Lawrence is healthy. Trevor Lawrence is going to be great this year. Trevor Lawrence is going to finish top 12 quarterback for sure, top 10 most likely this season. Lock that in right now. There you go. Just in case I never said that before. Yeah, I have Pickens on the bench in that one. That's what I said. Because I wanted to go with Drake London over Pickens. I also picked Christian Watson over Pickens, and I may come to regret that now, even though Watson scored, like I said. So, that's how I feel about it. I think Pickens, I love Pickens' setup this year. I think he's vastly undervalued. He might end up being a top 12, top 15 wide receiver this year, for sure. When is he? No, you're behind. I don't know what. I just explained it to you. I just showed you right here, my friend. I'll show you once again so you know. There you go. There you go. Yeah, you caught up. There you go. He caught up. Yeah, you caught up with the show now. We're all good. So that's my bottom line there. I think you could kind of go either way with Pickens or Thomas in week one only. I really do. And I'm going to leave it to you, Oops, to make the final decision. You know what you're doing. Oops is a veteran. You have experience. Trust your gut and just make it happen. Okay? Good. But I do love Justin Fields. I'm pro Fields over Wilson all season long for fantasy purposes only. I'm not saying there'll be a better team, but for fantasy, I want Fields on the field. All right, what else? Anything else here? I'm going to leave shortly. I got so much work to do before kickoff that I'm probably going to screw myself in some way. We got Survivor picks. What's your best Survivor pick today? Week one Survivor pick is impossible. Sometimes it seems like there's a really easy one, but I have no idea. It's like, Buffalo should beat Arizona, but I really like Arizona this year. They're going into Buffalo. They're 6.5-point dogs. And then, like Cleveland against Dallas. Cleveland should win, might win. You go with okay, so we totally disagree here again, Oops. He says, I got the Texans. No way. I'm very pro Colts. And in fact, I'm betting on the Colts to win that game or at least cover this very, very minute spread that the Colts have today. I am. Just in this game. The Texans could still win the division, but I think the Colts will battle the Texans. You got the Texans, the Colts, and the Jags. Those are three solid teams for sure. The Texans have so much hype because of C.J. Stroud and what they did last year going to the second round of the playoffs, blowing people's minds. They killed the Browns in the wild card round. I love the Texans offense. I love Nico Collins. Go blue. Even though Michigan got murdered by Texas yesterday. Hey, here's a great idea. Let's celebrate a national championship all offseason long and then forget to get a quarterback for this season. Whoops. Yeah, we're good. We got this guy, Davis something. I don't know. He's like senior. He's got experience. He'll be fine. Then we got Alex Orji. What were they thinking? God, that was an embarrassment yesterday. They brought me back. It was nightmares going back to like the Brady Hoke, Rich Rod, before Harbaugh showed up days. Man, Buzzkill. Oops is locked in saying the Colts will lose. I like the Colts there, but I don't have the stones enough to take them as a Survivor pick, but I might be mixing them in bets. For Survivor, I am... Oh, he's not big on Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson will show what he's all about. I'd see very little reason for Shane Steichen, the head coach of the Colts, to struggle to help Richardson be all he can be. It just makes so much sense. It's a great matchup. It's a beautiful marriage with Steichen and Richardson. He didn't look good in the preseason. Come on. Oops, did you see what you just wrote, Oops? Come on. He didn't look good in the preseason. That says it all, right? The preseason. Who gives a shit about the preseason? I know you don't. I know I don't. Not in the big picture, but it can confirm some biases we have if you're not thinking that Richardson will do well in his first full year. Hopefully he'll get a full year this year after being lost for the season. Real bummer last year. I wasn't big on Richardson last year, but after looking at what he did when he did play last year in the regular season and played very well. In fact, he was kicking Houston's ass at Houston early on last year. So remember that. I think Shane Steichen is a really good coach. And he knows how to set up an offense, and he knows how to coach quarterbacks. And he's going to get the most out of Richardson. Steichen was there when they drafted Richardson, and he wanted him, and he wants to work with him. And I trust in the coaching staff. I really do. Nick Sirianni at Philadelphia, he really benefited from his offensive coordinator, Shane Steichen, and his defensive coordinator, Mr. Gannon, who now coaches over in Arizona. Two guys who became head coaches off that Philly staff after the 2022 season. Colts will be lucky to score 17 points. Well, if the Colts win 17-13 or 17-16, that's all that matters, right? Yeah, Houston's good. They'll be good. They got C.J. Stroud. They got a loaded offense. DeMeco Ryans is also a great coach. This is a great rivalry. Colts-Texans is one of the budding rivalries in the NFL. DeMeco Ryans versus Shane Steichen. I love it. I can't wait. That's one of the highlight must-see games of the day, in my opinion, and it will be a good one. I'll be shocked if it's not a good one. And I'm pro starting almost everybody in those matchups because I think even though it's week one, though, remember this. We should talk about week one. With the loss of the fourth preseason game over the last few years, week one has looked ugly, and there's a lot of teams that are not ready to go. They need more reps. Remember that game a couple years ago? The Saints murdered the Packers. It was Aaron Rodgers last year, I think, as a Packer, or second to last year. Saints destroyed the Packers like 38-0. So just remember, week one is not going to be representative of the rest of the season. That's why week one, it's a good time to get wild, get radical. Trust your gut. If you have a counterintuitive opinion to what the rest of everybody's saying in the masses, remember this. There's so many shows, so many podcasts, so many live streams, so many television shows talking about this is what we know. We know this. You know, it happened yesterday. Yesterday I was watching College Game Day. I was prepping for the college football slate for gambling. And there I was from Monday on. I was locked in on the Cal Bears. The Cal Bears are getting 11.5 in Auburn. But everybody on that set said, Hugh Freeze is back. He's loaded this year. They're so good. They all picked Auburn, and suddenly it got in my head like, oh, shit. What if I'm an idiot? I'm picking Cal? Auburn might be much better. Hugh Freeze is a good coach. He really built up Liberty, and he was good at Mississippi before he got fired for calling strippers or hookers or whatever he was doing over there. And then what happens? Cal, not only do they cover, they win outright in Auburn. So trust your guts, folks. I'm locking that in over and over again. Everybody trust yourselves. You have an opinion. You have done the work. You see a reason. It's not just some, hey, I'm fly by the seat of my pants. Who cares, whatever thought. No, stick with your gut. Trust yourself. There's something you've seen. There's something you reviewed. You've done the work. You've looked at it. You've analyzed it. And you see an angle. Then go with it. You'd rather lose your own way. Nothing worse than trusting somebody else entirely and then they screw you, right? So you can take my advice, but then you can also stick to yours in the end. Make an informed final opinion. Because I don't know everything and neither do you. Bengals was the other eliminator. Yeah. The Bengals over the Patriots looks like the most obvious eliminator win. It does, and that's what scares me about it. This is NFL, man. It's crazy. Oh, it's crazy. Anything can happen. Week 1 is a total free-for-all, so just remember that. I know you guys know that, but, man, it freaks me out. It really does. Let's see. Any other NFL inactives here of note? I'm seeing. Rashawn Johnson, which I think is one of Uncle Ted's guys. Rashawn Johnson, running back for the Bears, is inactive today, so he won't help the cause. What we got here? Oh, okay. I almost got freaked out. Righty. I thought I'm like, I saw Thomas for the Jaguars Miami game, but it's Daniel Thomas safety, so don't worry about it. Brian Thomas is fine, healthy, good to go. Jalen Ramsey's active, so if you're scared of Jalen Ramsey, there you go. You can take something from that. I'm not afraid of him anymore. I used to be, but let's see. Nothing major for the Giants, it seems. Oh, Tommy DeVito will not be available, guys. Oh, man. Yeah, no major inactives that I see. Good news. Very good news. Okay. So, and Russell Wilson is officially inactive. There it is. Let the Justin Fields party begin. Hopefully people like me who drafted Fields anyways over Wilson it's going to pay dividends, and he's going to be a fantasy asset with Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin and Justin Fields riding together into the sunset. I love it. I love it so much. I mean, I don't loathe Russell Wilson. I just think Fields is so much more valuable for fantasy, even though Sean Payton got a lot out of Russell Wilson last year. There's no doubt about it. There is no doubt about that. All right, inactives for the Patriots. Javon Baker will not be playing today. So for you deep, hardcore Javon Baker truthers, you will not be getting anything from him in week 1. Yeah. Nothing too major beyond that I'm seeing around the rest of the inactives. Looks pretty good for the most part, okay? So we're in a good position here, and I'm very excited for this opening week 1. Full action today. If you got the Sunday ticket, you could sit back and watch it all. I love it. I'm going to have to be driving over to the casino to make some in-person decisions because I live in Canada and I can't do it from my phone here because I'm an American, even though I live here. That's a whole thing. Don't worry about it. Oops says, and to go back to the preseason, AR-5, well, he's now known as AR-5, I guess, right? Threw a pick 6. Pretty good. Every quarterback's thrown a pick 6 in their career. We're basing that on the whole season? Oops, I just don't think, we just completely disagree here, my man. We're looking at a situation where a guy throws a pick 6 I know it's a preseason, but it's not a good look. Yeah, I get it. But I'm not going to base the regular season output on a pick 6 from the preseason at all. If anything, make that mistake in the preseason. Please do. Don't make it in the regular season. I bet Richardson throws a pick 6 somewhere along the regular season this year. I'll lock that in too. But I still like him for fantasy. For fantasy. This is all about fantasy. It's not about winning. It's about fantasy. Okay? If we're talking gambling, yeah, we do need them to win if we're going to bet on the Colts, which I still will do today. I'm doing it all day long. All right, oops, hit the road. Have a great day. May all your fantasy points be plentiful. I love that. Great job. Thanks, Oops. Thanks for being here. There's 250 people watching, but only one person's talking in the chat. I'm going to go here because I got to go take care of my own stuff. Here's the bottom line. Let's go through it. Real simple, okay? Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. So we've seen 2 games already, right? Chiefs-Ravens, 27-20. Eagles-Packers in Brazil, 34-29. So they didn't look rusty. Oh, maybe the defenses looked rusty, but the offenses were ready to go, right? So Steelers-Falcons, I'm leaning Steelers, maybe? Yeah, I'm leaning Steelers a tad. Like I said, I like Pickens in that game. I like Najee Harris. You know, if you have Najee Harris, you should start him in this game. As far as Atlanta, Kyle Pitts is going to play, right? So you don't have to worry about that. Will he be rocking and rolling in week 1? Kirk Cousins, a new day here in Atlanta. It's going to be so interesting to see what Drake London could do. I also love Darnell Mooney, kind of an underdog, less highly rated wide receiver who came over from Chicago. Rondale Moore got hurt in the preseason, so now Mooney's more valuable in Atlanta. I like that. Cardinals at Bills. It seems like the Bills should win this game, but a lot of me wants to pick the Cardinals to cover, and I like their offense in Buffalo. Buffalo's defense is already kind of hurt. Losing Matt Milano was a huge bummer for Buffalo, but they got Josh Allen, and they got all these parts. They got James Cook, who's a great running back. Must start James Cook. Should be a great play in week 1. And will Marvin Harrison Jr. score a touchdown in his first game today against that Bills defense? It seems very likely that may happen. I might bet that player prop. Titans at Bears. I like the Titans to cover, actually, but I don't expect... I guess I'm just really curious to see what the Chicago offense does. But I think the Titans offense has a lot of talent. We know this. You got DeAndre Hopkins, even Tyler Boyd, who's an afterthought, is one of their new receivers coming over from Cincinnati. You got Calvin Ridley, you got Tony Pollard, you got Tyjae Spears, you got Chig Okonkwo. I love Chig Okonkwo. One of my deep secret plays of the day is Chig Okonkwo, tight end of the Titans. Now, the coaching staff likes the other tight end, Josh Wild, just as much, it seems, which makes me sad because they're listed as co-starting tight ends. I think Wild's a much better blocker, but Okonkwo is the best receiving tight end they have, without a doubt. God, he's so talented. If they could just get him some targets, I swear Okonkwo would put up numbers. And I'm hoping to see that against the Bears. Patriots and Bengals. The Patriots seem so awful that it almost seems like I want to start favoring the Patriots now. But with Jamar Chase active, Joe Burrow's ready to go. You know how pissed he is that he missed time again. He's on this redemption tour. I love Joe Burrow so much, but I didn't end up with any shares of Joe Burrow this year, and I may come to regret that because last year I drafted him heavily, and then he got hurt. So why didn't I go back to the well this year? Because I was afraid of the injury? That might have been poor choice on my part. But there was a lot of depth at quarterback, too, so maybe I didn't want to go Joe Burrow so high, especially when there's other quarterbacks who have a great rushing floor, like Jaden Daniels and Anthony Richardson, and even Justin Herbert. Ran for a couple 100 yards, had a few rushing touchdowns. In fact, Trevor Lawrence had several rushing touchdowns last year, too. Joe Burrow doesn't give you that, but he can throw it. He can fling it. We'll see what Jamar Chase does. The Bengals should win the game, but I just expect some weird shit to happen there. Texans and Colts. I like the Colts, but I like all the players involved here that you love. Play them all. Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman, and of course, Nico Collins and C.J. Stroud. And we'll see what Joe Mixon does in his debut. I bet Joe Mixon might be the star of the day. First game with his new team. A couple rushing touchdowns sounds good for Mr. Mixon. Jags and Dolphins. I expect this one to be as advertised. Two teams, high-flying teams. Two offenses that could move the ball. We know the Dolphins can, but the Jaguars have talent on offense. But they're also underrated defensively. I'm taking the Jaguars in that game. I think they could outright win that game against Miami. Though Miami plays so good at home, it'd be a little bit of a surprise. But I love all the fantasy assets there. Get them all in. Brian Thomas and Christian Kirk. Maybe even Gabe Davis. It's a little Gabe Davis sighting. The Tyreek Hill thing is a non-factor, it seems. He'll play. He'll be fine. He'll probably tear him up and do what he does. Panthers and Saints. Everyone's kind of turning to the Panthers right now. New head coach Dave Canales, who I like, former Tampa Bay offensive coordinator. But I think the Saints are being too shit upon. Like, they just barely missed the playoffs last year. They can beat the Panthers at home week 1. Bryce Young is a little stronger this year, apparently. Now he's got Deontay Johnson in town. Of course, Adam Thielen, who we all continue to dismiss. Every draft I was in, Adam Thielen was just waiting, even though he had 103 grabs last year. He's still around. He'll still be a factor. In PPR, Thielen is a guy to roster. He just is. But I like the Saints. I love Chris Olave. I love Rashid Shaheed. I hope they unleash that offense. I hope Derek Carr goes crazy today. I really do. Then Vikings-Giants. I like the Giants straight up. I think the Giants should win this game. I think Brian Daboll is a very good coach who's got a quarterback that he doesn't love, but he'll make the best of it. And there's a lot of weapons. I love Wan'Dale Robinson. I want you to know that. One of my sleepers of the year, Wan'Dale Robinson. I expect him to be even better this year. He's even healthier this season for the Giants. Yes, there's Malik Neighbors. No, there's no Saquon. This is a chance for the passing game to become even more impressive if Danny Dimes could just get it together, right? And we'll see what happens with that. Mopar Fez Robbie, I know him. Oh, my God, the Alouettes are crushing it this year. Only threat of the Red Blacks, but come November, the Grey Cup can end up in Winnipeg with the Blue Bombers currently on a 5-game tear. Ho, ho, ho. I love you, Robbie. You're so funny. Wait, this is NFL? Too many downs on that small, short field. All right, everybody. Well, good luck on opening week 1 NFL. This has been fun. I could talk about this for hours, but I got to cram, get my bets in, get my lineups finalized, get my DFS lineups ready to go, make sure my survivor picks are locked in, make sure my pick'em's done. Oh my God, there's too many things to do in an hour. Everybody have a great week. Thanks for being here week 1. We'll be back week 2 next Sunday morning. In the meantime, Brittany Allen's about to go live right on this YouTube channel for Fantasy Baseball Sunday Fab Show, live waiver wire chat. You head-to-head playoffers in fantasy baseball know what I'm talking about. Have fun with Britain. Bye-bye. Have a great week 1.
Fucking Roethlisberger, the quarterback, was all fucking hug it, chug it,